Hi there, welcome to Sukkos Before Sukkos. Today we are continuing with Perek Daled, Mishnah Aleph. The first Mishnah of Perek Daled is really an introductory Mishnah which gives us the introduction to the laws and the various Mishnayos which will be explained through the rest of this Perek and into Perek Hay in fact. The Mishnah starts off and says, Lulav va'arava shisha v'shiva. Lulav, the mitzvah of shaking the lulav, this is the mitzvah itself which we've discussed in the previous Perek. Va'arava, and the mitzvah of the arava. It's not referring to the arava in the lulav, it's referring to the special ceremony which will be explained later in Mishnah Hay, the ceremony of marching around the Mizbeach, walking around the Mizbeach after it was ringed with very high willow branches. So these two mitzvahs, lulav arava, can be either shisha v'shiva. It can apply either 6 days or 7 days. It can be performed either 6 days or 7 days. We'll see in the next Mishnah how exactly what this Mishnah means. Ha-Hallel, the recitation of Hallel, which means that on every single day of Sukkot we say the Hallel. This is a mitzvah which is all 8 days. Unlike Pesach, where we say only a half Hallel, the mitzvah of saying Hallel on Sukkot is to do it the entire Sukkot. And the reason being because the Karbonos on Sukkot were different every single day, and therefore it warranted the recitation of the entire Hallel, and that's what we do till today. The Hasimcha, and the mitzvah of rejoicing. Here it's talking about rejoicing by eating the meat of a korban shlomim, which is considered to be an act of simcha, of joy. These mitzvahs are performed all 8 days of the Yom Tov. Sukkah, the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah, which means all 7 days until Hoshana Rabbah, and then Shmini Atzeres as well. Sukkah, the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah, which is explained in the first 2 prakim. V'nisuch hamayim, and the pouring of the water. This is something which will be explained at length in Perek Hay. On Sukkot there was a very special ceremony which was done only on Sukkot. Water was poured onto the Mizbeach during the service of bringing up the daily Karbonos. Throughout the year, only wine was poured in the Mizbeach, but on Sukkot the water was poured in the Mizbeach, and it was of course for great joy. Shiva, this was done all 7 days. So the sitting in the sukkah and the Nisuch Hamayim is done for 7 days. The Hecholu, the Gemara, of course, the Mishnah will expand on all of these. Hecholu, the flute which is played, the flute and other kind of musical instruments which were played to accompany the great joys of the drawing of the water, which was to be used in the water libation, the pouring of the water on the Mizbeach. It was done during the night. The Mishnah will explain in Perek Hay. This is Chamisha v'Shisha. The instruments were played sometimes on 5 days, sometimes on 6 days. What does this all mean? Let's carry on to Mishnah base. The Mishnah says, Lulav Shiva Keitzad. So we said about the Lulav, sometimes the mitzvah of the Lulav was done for 7 days, sometimes it's done on 6 days. And it all depends on the kfiyus. It all depends on how the year plays itself out. What is the first day of Sukkot? So the Mishnah says, Yom Tov Rishon Shechad Shechol is B'Shabbos. If the first day of Sukkot falls out on Shabbos, so then Lulav Shiva, because we've learned that we're talking about outside of the Beis Hamikdash. It said in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, outside of the Beis Hamikdash, they would shake the Lulav on Shabbos, but only if Shabbos fell out to be on the first day of Sukkot. So then you'd have Shabbos and all the following 7 days until the following Friday. Then you had 7. Ushar kol hayomim, but if it falls out on any other day, so let's say that the first day of Sukkot is on a Tuesday, on a Monday, as it is this year. So then you don't, then you shake the lulav Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but Shabbos is the 6th day. It's not the first day of Sukkot, so you don't shake the lulav then, and you shake the lulav, skip Shabbos, shake the lulav Sunday, and you've only got 6 days of shaking the lulav. That is Mishnah base. Arava Shiva Keitzad, says Mishnah Gimel, how is the mitzvah of the willow branches performed for 7 days? And this mitzvah will be described at length in Mishnah Hay. But when was this done for 7 days? When was it done for 6 days? And the truth is over here, it's going to be the exact opposite of the lulav. It says, Yom Shvi Shel Arava Shechol Yos B'Shabbos, if the 7th day of the Arava, the very last day of the Arava, fell out to be on Shabbos, so then Arava Shiva, then it would push off Shabbos. So let's just say that the first day of Sukkot is on a Sunday, which actually can never fall out. But if it did fall out, that the first day of Sukkot was on a Sunday, And then the last day, Shana Rabbah, would be on Shabbos, so then it would push away. But if it was on any other day, so let's say that it was the 6th day, so like this year, the first day of Sukkot is on a Monday, so then Shabbos is not the 7th day, but it's the 6th day, then they would not do this mitzvah of Arava, of putting up the Aravas around, the willow branches around the Mizbeach, and encircling them, and encircling the Mizbeach. This is the exact opposite of the mitzvah of lulav. It's something which the Gemara expands on. It says why exactly it was done. It was done like that. Today, of course, we remember the mitzvah of arava by taking our aravas and tying them together and hitting them and around the mizbeach, around the bimah, which is done. That is done on a Shana Rabbah. But this was in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. Let's do Mishnah Dalet. The Mishnah Dalet says, once it's been talking about the lulav, it continues and says, mitzvahs lulav kaitzad. How is the mitzvah of lulav performed? So it says, Yom Tov Rishon Shechag Shechol Liyos Shabbos. If the first day of the Chag fell out on Shabbos, so then they do shake the lulav. It says, Moilichin es Ruvein Nahar Bayis. The way it was that everyone who had come up for Aliyas Arego, had come up because of the Chag, would take the lulavim to Harabais before Yom Tov, similar to what we spoke about before with the shul in the previous parak. And the attendants, the chazon and the people who worked over there would take it from each person, and they would arrange them upon the bench, which was just around the Har HaBayis. There was the bench which was also covered, and people would place them over there. But the elderly people placed theirs in a special chamber, and you will understand why in a moment. The Beis Din would teach the people to say, that if someone else gets my lulav, anyone whose my lulav comes to his hand, I am giving it to him as a gift. The reason being because, as we've explained, the lulav has to be lachem, it has to be yours, and therefore they made this condition in the beginning that it would be as a gift. But the next morning, the people would come early, and the attendants, the chazonim, would throw them down to the people. Remember, we're talking about thousands and thousands of people. And they would grab them. And people would hit each other. They would strike each other because they wanted to get their own lulav. You know, they paid a lot of money for this particular esrog, and they're not just going to let that guy get my esrog. When the Beis Din saw that people were coming to great danger, they ordained that everyone should shake his lulav at home. Don't bring it all to Har HaBayis. We don't want anyone to be greatly injured. Rather, just do it at home. So, Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow we will continue with Mishnah Hay, which speaks about the Arava and gives us a lot more clarity on what that mitzvah was about, how it applies 6 days, 7 days. I wish you a Gmar Chesed Torah. Have a wonderful day.